I know it is hard to get over it now. Let me embrace you and stay here for tonight. And just give it a try. Just for one last time. Flowers fade and it's time to keep oneself. When the freezing winter ends and it's time to come back. I'll come find you. I'll come find you. Sky so blue with no cloud, birds are singing of a flower bed. Children dancing in playground with briny sunshine everywhere. Sky so blue with no cloud, birds are singing of a flower bed. Children dancing in playground with briny sunshine everywhere. There are flowers everywhere, and it's time to come back. way I want to see you, it's never the way how you see. Well, I just might be just another knife, boy, you see. Well, I feel bad for you, that you can never feel what I feel. I know that you cut me down, but why can't I turn back and leave? Well, you might understand. Ooh, understand. One oh, dear albatross, velvet heaven come. Oh, dear albatross, oh, poor albatross. You are my lovely albatross, my lovely albatross. Don't cry, albatross. Please don't cry, albatross. When the raging typhoon comes, and when other birds are gone, you'll fly. You'll fly. You'll fly. Oh, dear albatross. Lovely albatross. You're my love, you're my one, you're my light, darling, that shines my world. I need your love, I was so close, but I'll retry my love, 'cause you're worth more. I wish I was yours, taking your side of love in every part of life. No, it didn't change, but I dream, you broke my heart and took my soul. I'll reclaim your love, your pure love. I wish your it's too late to bring you back here, but I'll try. I dream, I dream, I try. I'll try, my love, my love. Sound, sweet sound of heart breaking down in tears. Love, our love, sweet dream, lifts my dark soul, paralyzed. Now it's time for change. There will be blood. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la. There will be blood. Peace of broken heart, eyes cold, pecan pie. I swim through the sea of tears. I swim, I swim. I dream, I dream, I dream. Blue dream. Taste of the love, sweet dream, paradise, blue, Mediterranean blue. I blue dream. Circling on the air, looking for the prayer above this room, this land of death. Cross over the dead, bodies in the face. Providence of Mother Nature, merry-go-round, merry-go-round. Trying to stay by you, just like broken glass. But you're left behind, bleeding hard into the earth, just like missing child. I feel left behind. I seem like only one What if it was something we could make? But it changed. Let me hold your hand and fall into step, dancing with you, my love, my love. I see your smile, your shy face go red, which I adore. In love. Little girl with blue sapphire eyes, had nowhere to go and stay or hide. Then tiny little rabbit came to her and took her to the place where she could stay. She fell in love with that place, and she named that place called Wonderland. And she named that place called Wonderland. She never hesitate to ask or stay, adventurous like Ellen Line. She traveled around the wonderland, exploring colors she never had. She finally found herself from that place called Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland. Once there was a time when the green soldiers were running everywhere, shooting fire in the sky, and tiny little baby's born. Down across the reddish brown field, celebration, firework from the reddish brown field.
내가 손을 잡을게. 너는 힘을 빼도 돼. 그저 복사 꽃핀 거리를 걷자. 너의 마음이 녹아. 우리 밤을 합치면 무너진 달을 세워놓자. 가끔 너의 모습은 봄날의 낮과 밤 같아. 따스하다가도 차가운 해. 또 넌 맑은 하늘에 내리는 소나기 같아. 넌 대체 내게 뭐를 원해. 그대의 나 솔직히 좀 싫어. 그대는 내가 없더라도 아무렇지 않은 게 나아. 나의 모든 하루를 바꿔. 난 그렇게 또 두 눈을 감고만 해. 그대여 나 솔직히 좀 싫어. 그대는 내가 없더라도 아무렇지 않은 게 넌. 나의 모든 하루를 바꿔. 난 그렇게 또 두 눈을 감고만 해.
is too trivial for you now. Oh, my life is falling apart. Maybe no one will notice if I disappear, but I'll pray for you all the time. If I could be by your side, I'll give you all my life, my seasons. I can't be your love, 'cause I'm afraid I'll ruin your life. Wild to leaves withered away and grew again. You have gone far away. I'll be pushing up daisies and bring all the chances to heal, but I'll pray for you all the time. If I could be by your side, I'll give you all my life, my seasons. By your side, I'll be your seasons.
너는 달을 볼 때 눈이 커졌고 나는 나의 눈에 비친 것을 보내. 네가 사랑하는 것이 나와 같아. 나는 너를 보내. 꽃이 피어가는 줄도 모른 채 고운 너의 그림자를 안고서 마지막
concentrates, right, and that concentrates one's mind, and so that's what we think about at the Fed. We think about what's the right thing. You know, I have, all I want to do in what's left of my time at the Fed is have the economy be strong and have inflation be under control, have a solid labor market, I want to turn it over to my successor in that condition. Of course, that's what keeps me up at night, is to do that. And that's what I think about. That's the only thing I think about.
So how are you protected? By law, by Constitution? Where does your authority come from?
I think, I've covered all that. I do think we're fully protected, and again, I don't think about that anymore. What I think about is let's just do our jobs, and that's what we do. We don't talk about those issues at all, and all we do is do our jobs as best we can. And it's not an easy job, but it's one we've willingly taken on, and very important that we remain focused just on the job.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, our vice chair for communications. Mr. Lawler, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, as recently as yesterday, Fed Governor Bowman indicated, so if these conditions hold, is it not unreasonable to think that underlying inflation trends should continue its path towards 2%?
That's certainly a very defensible position. I think what others on the committee think, and what I think, is that this is a question we need to be careful with, because it's different than it was in 2018. The difference is that we haven't had 2% inflation. In 2018, we hadn't had an inflation as high as 2% for a decade anymore.
Right.
This is a different situation. We haven't fully restored price stability, and another shock. We have to be careful. If there's a meaningfully large and sustained inflation shock, we have to be careful about that. And so, I think we're just trying to be careful and cautious, and we really think that's the best thing we can do for the people that we serve. If that happens, we need to be there for it. And so, we're in a difficult situation in deciding exactly when to move. But again, if we continue to see inflation come in, and not prove up at the higher levels than we expect, then that would matter for our decision making.
Chairman Powell, economist John Taylor once noted that the Federal Reserve should deviate from its own Taylor rule in the event of an oil shock, similar to the tariff scenario. A one-time price increase from an oil shock should not be accompanied with an increase in interest rates. Do you agree with that assessment?
I generally do, yes.
Previously, you said that if you wait for inflation to get back down to 2% to cut rates, you are already too late. You also said in November 2024 that inflation was on a sustainable path to 2%. Given that the FOMC believes that interest rates now are moderately restrictive and that an oil or tariff shock may not impact underlying inflation in a significant or meaningful way, because as the Monetary Policy Report established, inflation expectations are firmly anchored, what is the reason not to cut rates?
Well, it's uncertainty about the size and potential persistence of the potential but highly uncertain inflation from tariffs. By the way, we have 5 Taylor rules in the Monetary Policy Report. 4 of them say that the policy rate is in the right range, and the other one calls for a hike.
Right.
Just for the record.
Well, back in the beginning of the Biden administration, okay, when we talk about inflation, they increased federal spending by $2.5 trillion each year. $5 trillion in new spending. That's what gave us inflation, by printing all of this new money and borrowing, and yet you did not respond to that by raising rates. In fact, you were late to raise rates. And now, again, we see a situation where you are late to cut rates. That is the challenge here.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Powell, to the best of your knowledge, has President Trump put forward a coherent tariff policy? Is that your opinion?
That is not a judgment for me to make or to discuss.
Well, what do you think?
Sir, it would be inappropriate for me.
You're
I don't
running
comment
our
on the president's
economy.
words or the president's
Does
policies.
the president, in your opinion, does he have a coherent tariff policy? You ought to have an opinion on that. You run our economy. This is your bailiwick. Do you think he's got a good policy? Answer me.
I would never comment on the President of the United States in that way.
All right. What do you think our policy should be?
We play no role in either establishing or commenting on tariff policy or fiscal policy for that matter.
Let
Not
me
our
tell you-
business. We have a specific mandate. We try to stick to it.
Let me tell you something, Chairman. In my state of Georgia, I got the fastest growing trade group down there. The Port of Savannah is indeed our nation's fastest growing party, and it's rising even more. The cost, the expenses, our business community is suffering. And I want to know what you think of our tariff policy. What do I tell my people? What do we tell the American people? And you're a good man. I want to know the answer to this question. I want to know how you feel. This whole tariff question, it's a tax increase. It's running people out of business. What do you think about that? Give me some sort of answer. Do you think anything about our tariff policy? Don't you feel you have a responsibility here? Are you afraid of President Donald Trump? Why don't you deal with this? Because our economy are suffering in a mighty bad way. And I've got to represent my constituency. And they are, let's take Georgia's agricultural sector, mostly pecans and poultry and cotton exports. They've been hit hard by retaliatory tariffs from key trading partners like China. Why are you running away from the tariff fight? Give us some understanding of that.
Honestly, this is just not our role. We are not an institution that comments on or analyzes decisions that the president makes or the things that he runs for office on and is elected on and then does. That's just completely out of our lane. It's really inappropriate for me to have any comment on that. I'm sorry to say, Mr. Scott.
We're having these regional disruptions. Our economy is in a bad way. And I want to see you and the president. You got to get together on this. We got pecans in Georgia. We got peanuts. We run the biggest group. We got the fastest growing trade mechanism in the Savannah Port Authority. We're crushed in Georgia. My business folks are coming to me on it. I got to get some answers from you. What do I tell them that the Fed chairman feels about their experience in this tariff? I think we need to get you and the president together.
Gentleman's time has expired. Appreciate the gentleman from Georgia. The gentlewoman from Florida, Ms. Salazar, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Hi, thank you very much. We talk a little bit more because we want to continue growing. We're the #1 economy in the world. We need to continue growing. So you're saying that what's affecting the growth?
Well, there are two things that affect growth. One is growth in the labor force, more people working, and the other thing is productivity. How much do they produce per hour worked? And when you significantly slow the growth of the labor force, you will slow the growth of the economy. But I think, again, it's not for us to have a view on on immigration policy.
Oh, no, I
can just
understand. It
report
was
that.
just my comments, but you do agree that if we don't have those hands, then we don't grow.
I think that growth will slow, and actually is slowing this year, and that's one of the reasons.
Well, we don't like that. So now let's talk about of the next 10 years, 2025 to 2035. Americans are not having enough kids. So that means that we need other people, right? So over the next decade, based on the current trends that I just explained to you and that you just reiterated, will there be enough workers to fulfill the labor needs of our economy between 2025 and 2035?
So I think labor economists do observe the phenomenon you're talking about, which is demand for labor going to be met by the domestic population, the native-born population? And the answer appears to be probably not over the next 10 years.
And then what about if we do not have that labor force over the next 10 years? What happens?
So many things will happen. You can see a big increase in productivity, which would mean we don't need as many workers. For example, artificial intelligence could be implemented in a way that creates widespread productivity gains. I wouldn't count on that, but it's a possibility.
You would not? You would not count on that?
I wouldn't count on it.
You would not?
No, I mean, I think
Why
there'll
not?
be gains because with productivity enhancing things, they typically take longer to be implemented, and then it takes a while for the gains to be shown. I think in the case of artificial intelligence, those gains are coming, but they may take longer or be less in the beginning than expected.
And during the time that those changes happen?
2022, what do your models suggest would occur to inflation, and how would it influence the Fed's thinking should we be back at $120 a barrel?
Well, let's just say there's a big price spike in that range. So, we would look at that and we would ask ourselves, we look at the overall situation, we would ask ourselves, should we react to that? So, for example, during what we called the Arab Spring back in the early teens, oil prices went up a lot, and that went into the price, and then there was a discussion, and I think the right answer was to look through that. The question you'd be asking to yourself, because by the time you react, the price comes back down. I think the question today would be, is the situation different, and what would be the implications of those differences?
Gentleman's time has expired. I thank the gentleman from Connecticut. Chair recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina. Mr. Moore, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, I want to touch on international standard-setting bodies like the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. Their goal is to promote better harmonization for global capital flows and regulatory standards, but the Biden administration's implementation of Basel III endgame demonstrated the pitfalls when the U.S. is a follower instead of a leader in the international arena. That's why both Democrats and Republicans shot down former Vice Chair Michael Barr's proposal, which made capital less acceptable and put U.S. firms and businesses at a global disadvantage. Do you agree that the United States should only implement international standards in a way that is consistent with our own domestic legal and regulatory scheme?
I do.
And he said, that's why you have 500,000 more homes listed than buyers for those homes. When the rates come down, prices will also come down with it, because you'll have more supply in the marketplace, and supply is what controls prices. He went on to say that, interest rates do not control prices, and he explained that lower rates could stimulate activity in the market, and activity is what makes the economy work. And I agree with his comments, overall, but I believe, as you said earlier, the economy seems stable. And I would agree with that coming from an ag and manufacturing area. It's not booming yet, but I believe most people are optimistic that the good times are coming and that the structure is set and in place. But when it comes to housing, it seems like that's where a lot of Americans they're stuck. They've had low rates, they've got a good mortgage rate, but if they want to make a move, they have to go out of that 3% interest rate into 4.5%, 5% or higher percent interest rate. Thoughts on addressing housing, because their prices are up for sure, but there's no activity. The velocity is very slow. Would you like to comment on any of that?
Sure. So we see the same thing you do in the housing market. It's tough. There's not people are locked in. They can't afford to get out of their house because the cost of getting to a higher mortgage higher price mortgage would be a lot. So the best thing we can do, though, is to get inflation sustainably down to 2% and have it stay there over a long period of time, And that is really what we can offer to them. And I think, so if you go back to the beginning of the pandemic, when we cut to zero and we did all those programs, we really saved the housing industry because they're the front line for interest rates. At a time like this, when rates are, I would say modestly restrictive, not even moderately, but modestly restrictive, they feel it, and their customers feel it. We understand that, but we only have one tool for the whole economy, not just for housing. So it's something we consider, but we have to consider the bigger picture. And I do think in the medium term, as rates come down, you'll see normalization in housing. Of course, there'll still be a national housing shortage. I don't know about your district, but
Yeah. No, there's a shortage.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the macroeconomics of interest rates, I mean, how much consideration do you take housing into that decision as you address interest rates?
We're always briefed on it. We always talk about it. We always look at it. But at the end of the day, it's the big U.S. economy, the whole aggregate thing that matters. We also talk about the agricultural economy a lot as well. But ultimately, and manufacturing, it's got to be the whole, and not any one particular piece.
Yeah, I just, would mention it is hard for American families to make that move, and they're stuck. And so I would just, highly consider, ask you to consider that piece of it, because when Americans can't move and Americans can't upgrade or move laterally even, it really keeps the economy kind of holds the economy back a bit when Americans don't have that. But again, I want to say thank you, because you have a tough job, but I haven't heard from anyone in my district asking interest rates to go up. So I'll just pass that along from Indiana's 3rd district. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Colorado. Ms. Peterson is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and great to see you, Chair Powell. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to thank you for your long service to our country. I know that you've served under many Democrats, Republicans. You've always been nonpartisan and done your job to put our country first, and we appreciate your steadfast leadership. And if you are not reappointed, it will be very missed here. I have some concerns when I think about, I know you've touched on this a little bit through the questions today, but around the independence of the Federal Reserve. Your job, no matter what president you served under, Republican or Democrat, was to make sure that this was not a political position, while you brought news that some would not be happy about because it reflected what you had to do to address inflation. When I think about the conversations we've had going through the global pandemic and the economic fallout, and how we had to infuse money throughout our country to keep our services afloat, our businesses afloat. And while we suffered from inflation like the rest of the world, we had the quickest, strongest recovery. We were leading the globe, and so much of that was because of your leadership. And so when I think about what this position means, how important it is that there is independence, what are your biggest concerns about a potential successor that doesn't prioritize that and wants to do what is politically asked of them versus what they need to do for the country? And what are their long-term repercussions if you're not acting on addressing the economic uncertainties and trying to address inflation in this position?
So I wouldn't speculate on that, but I would say, the credibility of the Fed on price stability is very, very important. People believe that we will bring inflation back down to 2% over time. And once if they really do believe it and it's true, then that'll have big effects on not just short-term rates but long-term rates. If that were to be called into question, then you'd see long-term rates go up. I mean, that credibility once lost is very expensive to regain, is what the historical record says. So I just think I think people should understand that credibility on inflation is hard won and something we need to constantly tend. And, you know, that's what we're doing with our current policy, is just being careful with potential inflation risks. We haven't overreacted. In fact, we haven't reacted at all. But we're being a little bit careful about that set of questions as we decide what to do next.
And thank you for bringing that up. As we look at where we were, how far we had come in our economy, things were starting to stabilize, and we were starting to finally see a relief on the interest rates. They were starting to go down. Now they're holding steady. Can you talk about why the instability? You know, when we look at tariffs around the increase in the deficit by the proposed big ugly bill that is being brought through Congress right now, and increasing our debt by trillions of dollars, and having our credit downgraded again because we are increasing our deficit. So with this economic uncertainty, where we were going, we were on the way down for reducing our rates, and now we have to hold steady to address the instability. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, could you just briefly restate your question there? I apologize.
Yes, I'm going to do this the best I can with with Sam here. That with our having to address inflation, as we've started to see it, you were able to decrease the rates. We were starting to go down a little bit. We were seeing that our economy was finally in a solid place. Prices were starting to go down. And now, with the economic uncertainty, we're starting to see that you had to hold steady, whereas everyone was projecting before this administration came in with these changes that it was going to continue to go down. Can you talk about why you have had to choose to hold steady on the interest rates?
So we just, you know, we stick to what we're assigned to do, which is maximum employment and price stability. We don't have opinions on fiscal policy or trade policy or immigration policy or any one of another, or regulation policy, other than that we have our regulatory responsibilities. And so we take what comes as it comes. And, you know, elected politicians do what they do, and we don't criticize that. We don't have opinions about that.
Gentleman's time has expired, and the gentleladies.
Thank you, and thank you, Sam.
Chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Texas, Mrs. De La Cruz, for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Chair Powell, for being here with us today. I am Congresswoman Monica De La Cruz, and I am from Deep South Texas, a largely Hispanic district, a rural community right there on the border of Texas and Mexico. I serve as the Vice Chair for Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, and it's difficult for families right now to afford a home on an